We're almost to December, and that means Oscar season is here. It's time for my monthly Oscar update. Let's see how wrong I am. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to go through each category, and I'm going to be giving you my 5 Oscar predictions, except for Best Picture, which is 10. And as always, I need you guys in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on this year's Oscars, and how has it changed over the last month? You're going to see a big difference between the last video and this video. I've seen more movies, I have more updates, and I am much more confident in a few of my picks. I still have plenty of things I need to see before the official Oscar predictions on this channel. But as of right now, we're going to continue to go with the flow as things change. I don't know exactly when this video is going up, but I'm recording it towards the end of November, so maybe this week, maybe not. And like I said, so many things have changed. Movies have come out and not done as well as we thought they were going to do. Films have bombed at the box office. Updates on movies that almost changed the landscape. We're going to stick with the exact same categories this time around, except I'm going to add in international feature. I'm going to add one every time we do it. But that being said, like last time, I want to start with the sound category, the integration of all of the different sounds into one category. And the list looks very similar to last time. A couple of changes here and there. Honorable mention-wise, movies that I believe will get close. I'm still not quite there on putting Matrix in this category, but I have a feeling the sound design is going to be good, so it could absolutely slip in. Movies like Tick, Tick, Boom, The Tragedy of Macbeth, I think they're still very close. I'm going to take out Eternals this time around. I know I had it in my top 5, but that's a movie that came out and just wasn't as well accepted as we need it to be to get into that Oscar contention. I'm also taking out A Quiet Place Part 2. Had that in last time. It's not really being talked about, right? They've had a couple of things here and there. I got my screener for it digitally, but not a lot of talk. And even though I believe it deserves this category, absolutely, it's just not there. Even for a sound category, it's just not there. So replacing those two films, and I think I had Eternals pretty high, I'm going to throw Nightmare Alley in at the 5 spot. I think it just slips in. It feels like a movie that's going to have super solid sound design, and it's going to be in contention for a lot of awards. I'm also going to put Belfast in there, and Belfast being a major contender in almost every category. I feel like it has to get a lot of these minor technical noms to have a shot at Best Picture, so why not throwing it into sound? And the scenes that we get with the conflict, and I just feel like there's enough there to warrant at least consideration. So I won't be too mad if it gets in. And I'm also going to stick with the 3 that I had last time within the category. No Time to Die. I think it stays, even with the lack of a ton of talk. We have Best Original Song, which I'm not covering this time around, and Best Sound. I think that deserves to be in there. West Side Story at number 2 at this point. I'm very confident. You know, it's a musical. Hey, Spielberg, sound. Let's put it in the sound category. That's the way the brains kind of work here. But number 1, it's Dune. You know, you're going to be hearing me say the same thing over and over. Dune, with the technical nominations, it's going to almost sweep these. So I have it at the 1 spot. I believe it's going to win. Let's get into the category that I talked about adding in here. I've seen a couple of these movies. I've been sent screeners. I still haven't seen all of them, but just from what I've been hearing, I believe I have 5. On the outside looking in, I'm going to go with Drive My Car. I've heard really good things about this film, and I actually believe there's a very good chance it gets in there. Once I see all of the movies, I'll feel more or less confident. At number 5, I'm going to go with The Hand of God, which is a Netflix original film. I have the screener for this movie. I haven't been able to watch the screener yet, but it looks like it could be an Oscar-esque movie, just the style, the cinematography, the flair. At number 4, Titan. I believe at this point, Titan has to get in there, right? Not only being talked about as a foreign film, but a lot of people I know just absolutely love this movie. In their top 10 of the year. I don't quite feel the same way, but I like the film. I thought it was really, really solid. Like the director there, too. At number 3, A Hero. I've heard very good things about The Hero. I believe it's coming to Amazon in January, so we're not going to be able to see it for a while. Well, I have a screener for it. I need to watch all of these screeners, guys. I've been trying to make other videos, but I believe it gets in just by the look and the feel and the talk surrounding it. but the two I'm the most confident in. Flea coming in at the 2 spot. You know, it has a good shot at animated. It's mostly animated, but definitely that documentary style feature. Number 1, The Worst Person in the World, a Neon original film. And Neon sent over a super sweet for your consideration package, and I absolutely love the design. But one movie in here that I have to see. Oh, look, there's Flea. There it is. There it is, folks. The Worst Person in the World. I am more than excited to finally check this out. So hopefully next time you guys get my update, I will have more of a clear picture on the international feature winner. Let's get into the next category, and that is Best Visual Effects, and you guys are going to see a lot of changes. I'm going to try my best to explain those. Similar honorable mention this time, Jungle Cruise. I'm going to keep it right on the outside looking in. I'm also going to throw in movies like Don't Look Up and Free Guy, which I don't know why I didn't mention Free Guy last time. I actually think Don't Look Up has a really good chance, but because, you know, and there's visual effects there, absolutely. I just feel like these other movies are more grand with their visual effects, but because Don't Look Up could be a Best Picture contender, maybe that's the one that gets in. I'm going to take out The Suicide Squad entirely, not even an honorable mention. I had it in my top 5. Nobody's talking about this movie, and it's so unfortunate because I love the film, but it's not even being brought up for Oscar consideration, so I'm taking it out. My top 5 includes Spider-Man No Way Home. That stays in. At number 4, a movie I had on the outside looking in last time, I'm going to throw in The Matrix Resurrections. I just think this is going to maybe blow us away with their visual effects, and even if it doesn't, it's going to have enough visual effects to appease a lot of people. Godzilla vs. Kong, absolutely in there. Shang-Chi, some people don't think it's going to get in. I think it's going to get in. It's the most beloved Marvel movie of the year. And then at number 1, it's Dune. You also don't see Eternals here. I guess I'm going to put that in the honorable mention spot. It was in the top 5. But Dune is number 1, will be number 1. It's going to win. It's easy. Let's move on. Score! Hey, Austin, is Dune number 1 again? Yeah, it is. Is it because you love the movie? No, it's because it's going to win. Let's go to the honorable mentions first. Taking out No Time to Die and Licorice Pizza just entirely. I don't think those movies have a shot at this point. No talk surrounding them. But I am going to throw in a movie like King Richard, which is being talked about quite a bit, and we'll get more into it here in a little bit. But Don't Look Up as well. Just hearing what I've heard in the trailer and the talk surrounding it, I think that has a shot, but maybe not. Taking Eternals out, once again, of everything, honorable mentions and top 5. I don't think, you know, and I love the score for Eternals. I really do. But the reception has been mixed entirely. And then The Tragedy of Macbeth, still going to keep it as an honorable mention, but Tragedy of Macbeth is one that, you know, people, I expected there to be more surrounding it. Now, it's not out yet. That could change 100% when it comes out. But as of now, at number 5, sliding The French Dispatch in there. It was in honorable mentions, but Desplat, you know what he's capable of, and I do believe he delivers there. I thoroughly enjoyed the score for Dispatch. At number 4, Nightmare Alley. I had him in last time, Nathan Johnson. I believe last time is when I didn't know Nathan Johnson was scoring Nightmare Alley, but now I do. But just kind of hearing it from the trailers and Guillermo del Toro, it's that type of film I believe he gets in. At number 3, Johnny Greenwood, Spencer. I didn't have Spencer anywhere last time around, but after watching the movie and hearing that score and the subtle nature of it, but also how it goes a little bit overboard at times, but really works for the story that it's telling. Loved the score for Spencer. That's the 3 spot. The 2 spot, hey, look, Johnny Greenwood again. Man, Greenwood is having a year and a half. I think he gets in for 2 this time around. But number 1, Hans Zimmer. Nothing else to say. There you go. Production design. Serrano and Belfast come in as honorable mentions. Didn't talk about it last time. Don't know why in the world I didn't have Belfast even close to the list. Still on the outside looking in. I just think some of these other contenders are a bit stronger. I'm going to keep Cruella and Spencer on there. Cruella less likely, but I still think the production design is good enough to warrant a mention on this list. But my top 5 include... Actually, you know what? I'm also taking out Power of the Dog of my top 5. I just feel like these other 5 are stronger. Still an honorable mention. Number 5 is The French Dispatch. How does it not get in? I saw the film and I said, what is wrong with you, Austin? Why did you not put that in the top 5? It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Not a movie that's being talked about, once again, but I think it's hard to overlook how incredible the production design is there. Number 4, I feel really strong about these top 4. West Side Story. Number 3, The Tragedy of Macbeth. If it gets anything, it's going to get production design. Number 2, Nightmare Alley. Come on, it's Guillermo del Toro. It's a carnival, and it looks like it's really, really good, so I think it's going to warrant that spot. But number 1, Dune. Why are you Dune so much, Austin? Can you Dune less? I will not Dune less. I will Dune more. Dune. Animated feature. This is one of the more simplistic ones, even though I am taking out Raya and the Last Dragon and putting in Belle into my top 5. I believe I had them switched last time around. Ron's Gone Wrong, still an honorable mention. Vivo, still an honorable mention, but I think that one is way less likely. So I'm going to say Belle at number 5, The Mitchells versus the Machines at number 4, Luca at 3 this time because I'm sliding Flea down to 2, and thus saying Encanto is going to win Best Animated Feature. After seeing the film and feeling the joy, and, you know, it's very close to being my favorite. I still prefer The Mitchells versus the Machines, but again, this is not what I want to win. Oh, hello, email. It's not necessarily what I want to win, even though I believe Encanto does deserve and warrant that victory if it gets it. It's a beautiful film. I absolutely loved it. Watched it this week. Reviews on this channel. Shout out to me. All right, we're getting into some of the good stuff here. We're going to talk about the screenplay categories. Let's start with adapted and talk about those honorable mentions. Took The Tragedy of Macbeth off entirely. Again, just not really in the conversation at this point. I am going to add Passing to the honorable mention category. This is not as strong of a category as we've seen in the past, so even though I wasn't entirely there on the way that Passing wrapped up, I do think the screenplay is the strongest, one of the strongest elements of that film. We'll talk about more here in a little bit. I'm going to keep Coda in the honorable mentions. I love Coda. I love the screenplay. Don't know if people are going to be thinking about that, but maybe. In terms of my 5 last time around, I'm taking out The Humans, but I'm leaving it in the honorable mentions spot. I thought the screenplay for The Humans was good. I don't know if it's good enough to get into that top 5 personally, right? This is a little bit of personal bias here. I'm also taking out House of Gucci. People just aren't really responding well to that movie. It's getting okay response from some critics. I enjoyed the film, but it is tonally messy, and I believe that messiness is going to keep it out of the screenplay category. And this is going to sound crazy, but I believe Dune takes the 5 spot. And again, this is not even personal bias. You look at a movie like 1917 getting a screenplay nomination. We've seen films this big and this grand before capture screenplay, and Dune is just going to be talked about so much. And this category is a bit weaker than maybe it normally is. And based off of some beloved source material, Frank Herbert's novel, which people just respond to. You know, not everyone loves it. Some people think it's too slow, but because of that, I think it's going to slide into the 5 spot. At number 4, I'm adding in a brand new one, The Lost Daughter, which I'm hearing nothing but great things about. I can't wait to watch that film. I need to watch it as soon as I can. 3, 2, and 1, though. 3, 2, and 1, I think Nightmare Alley stays on there. West Side Story, it's Steven Spielberg. I don't know how it doesn't get it at this point. And number 1, The Power of the Dog. This is Campion's year. It really is for the screenplay category. She's being talked about nonstop. I think she gets the director nomination, the Best Picture nomination, but screenplay is the one that I feel the most confident in. So that's the one that I believe wins it. Original screenplay, very easy category to find the top 2 for, but don't look past number 3, King Richard, which keeps sneaking up every category I have it in because this is the crowd pleaser. Every year there's a crowd pleaser that kind of sneaks up in every category. King Richard is that film this time around. But let's start with the honorable mentions. Taking out Parallel Mothers, taking out Spencer. Not a lot of talk for Parallel Mothers in this category. Spencer, I believe, does kind of warrant being on this list personally. I don't know if it's a movie that people are going to look at the screenplay as much. I am going to add in Being the Ricardos, Aaron Sorkin. You know, you always have to have Sorkin, at least in the conversation. That was my bad for not including this film last time around, and it's being talked about for a lot of categories. I'm excited to see the film. I'm interested to see what it does, but as of now, I'm keeping it on the outside looking in. I'm also keeping Mass on the outside looking in. I had it in last time, but Mass flying completely under the radar. Nobody's talking about this movie because nobody's really seen this movie. I hope it sneaks into some of the acting categories. At this point, I don't think it will for screenplay. But I am going to add in one of my favorite movies of the year, a movie that I believe should be talked about more, and that is Come On, Come On. This could be A24's movie. If they play it right, this could be their film, because I believe the screenplay is incredible. I believe the performances are top-notch. And the 4 and 5 spot, really the 5 spot, is so up for grabs in this category. I hope they market Come On, Come On, but I think it has a shot. Just after seeing it, I really do. And number 4, Don't Look Up. McKay, they just really love his work, but that 3, 2, and 1 spot that we already talked about, it is between Belfast and Licorice Pizza, in my opinion. But don't sleep on King Richard. We're going to have to see how it settles with people and how it's going to be talked about a month from now when we come back to this video. That's at the 3 spot, but it has a very good shot at being in the 2 or 1 spot. Let's get into yet another technical category, editing. This one looks a bit familiar to last time. On the outside looking in, honorable mentions, I have The Tragedy of Macbeth, Licorice Pizza, The Power of the Dog, West Side Story, and The House of Gucci, which I may even consider taking out entirely. That's one of the problems with this film. I had it in my top 5 last time before I was able to see it, is the editing. Some people are going to see it, they're going to be like, oh, it was, swiftly edited and a lot of cuts and transitions, but I think the movie feels a bit more messy because of that. Again, I liked it. I liked the film, but a lot of people don't, so I'm taking that out, and I'm putting in King Richard. Slick, easy, subtle, crowd-pleasing. It just feels like it has everything you need for a movie getting in that editing category, even though I'm not going to say it's personally one of the top 5 edited movies of the year for me, but I would throw in weird things. I'd throw in like The Green Knight, but nobody's talking about that. Number 4, Nightmare Alley. Number 3, Don't Look Up. Easy contender for this category. Then Belfast, which absolutely gets in because it's a huge Best Picture contender. But number 1, it's Dune. Cinematography, I don't think I've changed anything this time around, except for one more honorable mention, and that is Licorice Pizza. But Spencer, French Dispatch, Nightmare Alley, on the outside looking in at the 5 spot, West Side Story, looks gorgeous. I'm very confident in that. I'm just really confident in this top 5. Belfast, Best Picture contender. The Power of the Dog, it's a Western, shot outside, beautiful landscapes. Dune, number 2. I'm still going Tragedy of Macbeth. And number 1, guys, I don't know why this is the one for me where Macbeth I feel so strongly about, because I feel like people are going to see this movie and they're going to say, okay, that was good. Production design, really good. Cinematography, immaculate. It's an immaculate-looking movie. It's one of the best-looking movies I've seen in years. Maybe it flies under the radar because it's not getting any other nominations or many other nominations, but I think it does enough for this. And here's where the madness begins. Let's start with honorable mentions, and I'm going to throw in someone that I didn't have last time. That is Ruth Negga from Passing. The other thing that people are talking about with this movie is her performance, and it was incredible. Again, I didn't love the film. Saw it all the way back at Sundance, but I liked it, and her performance was one of the reasons why. So I think she actually has a pretty good chance of getting in. Ariana DeBose from West Side Story, yes, I mean, she looks phenomenal in the film. Meryl Streep from Don't Look Up, I have to put her in because she's Meryl Streep. It doesn't matter what the movie is. I'm going to put her in regardless. Kate Blanchett from Nightmare Alley. She's new to this list. I believe last time I had, I think I had Rooney Mara, I believe, but Blanchett has more of an opportunity in my opinion. And Marlee Matlin from Coda. I want this so bad. I want Marlee Matlin in there. Nobody's talking about Coda yet. We'll have to see what the push is like from Apple, but I hope people start talking about it a little bit more. So in terms of my top 5, taking out Rebecca Ferguson entirely. No one's talking about Rebecca Ferguson. I loved her performance. I thought it was incredible, but she's not getting really anything. And this is not the kind of movie that gets the actor and actress nominations, and the more it goes, the more I can start to see that. So instead, I'm putting in Judi Dench from Belfast. I think Belfast is going to rack up nominations, and I think there are going to be a lot of acting category noms, Judi Dench being one of them, and after seeing the film, I could see how she gets a nomination. She's wonderful in this movie. Not good, wonderful. So I think she kind of warrants at least being in the discussion. At 4, once again, Kirsten Dunst from The Power of the Dog. Great performance, finally getting that nomination. Ooh, this hurts. Oh, it hurts. I had Ann Dowd at number 1 last time. I'm putting her further and further down this list. Still not out of it for me, okay? Great opportunity to get that nom, but I don't know if she has a shot to win because, again, no. Why is no one talking about Mass? No one's talking about it at all. All the predictions and things that I'm seeing, Isaacs is gone. Dowd is gone off a lot of lists. I'm still holding out hope. I'm keeping her on here, but I don't think she's going to win it. Anjanou Ellis from King Richard. She's great. She really is. I saw King Richard, and while Smith's performance was the standout, I'm looking at her like, okay, she's the soul of the movie, and I think she's going to warrant that nomination. But this time around, my number 1 is Katrina Balfe from Belfast. It was a great performance. It was. It's not my personal favorite on the list, but I believe it has the most Oscar-y moments and a lot of emotion from her performance, and it all comes down to who's being talked about the most. It's her. It's her performance. So you have to go by the hearsay just as much as you do your opinion with these predictions, and that's what I'm doing supporting actress. Supporting actor. This one is chaos. That's what the Joker would say, right? It's all part of the plan. No, not really. Not with this one, okay? Let's talk about honorable mentions, and I have like 45, so let's get into them. I took off Ben Affleck for The Last Duel. I hate that I took it off because I loved his performance, but nobody's talking about The Last Duel. Al Pacino, from House of Gucci. No shot, in my opinion. No shot. I am going to throw on Cody Smith-McPhee for Power of the Dog and Robin DeJesus from Tick, Tick, Boom, which I just loved. He almost stole the show at points. You know, it's Andrew Garfield's movie, but he's really, really good in the film. I took off Ben Affleck for The Last Duel. I'm going to put on Ben Affleck for The Tender Bar. I've heard mediocre things about the film. I have it available to watch, but I've heard his performance was really, really great. So if he gets it, I think it's for this movie, not The Last Duel. Richard Jenkins for The Humans, keeping him in the honorable mentions. Andrew Garfield for The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Troy Kotsur for Coda, the man who played the father. Oh my God, what a performance. Please talk about him more. I hope he somehow gets in. And I am going to throw on Woody Norman for Come On, Come On, because Come On, Come On, it is being talked about just a little bit. Woody Norman's performance almost stole the show from Joaquin Phoenix at points. 2 people I had in the top 5 last time around. I had Jared Leto for House of Gucci. I had David Alvarez for West Side Story. I'm taking both of them out. You know, I have to see West Side Story before I can maybe hit on David Alvarez a bit more. I did see House of Gucci, and people are some people are calling for a Razzie nomination for Jared Leto, and we've seen that before, right? We've seen the Oscar nom and the Razzie nom. This could be one of those occurrences, but because so many people hated on his performance, I just don't know if I feel strong enough to put him in at this point. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I was entertained. I think he should be Mario. Let's get into number 5. John Bernthal, someone who I talked about a little bit last time as an honorable mention. Bernthal is so good in this movie, and he's never talked about. I think he's finally going to get that recognition, and I really hope, I am really hoping he slips in. I'm going to put him at the 5 spot. Jason Isaacs started at the top, now we're here. Is that the song? No, it started at the bottom. But Jason Isaacs, at one point, I thought could win it. At this point, just nobody's talking about him. And it hurts me. And it destroys my soul. But nobody is talking about his performance. Ciarán Hinds in Belfast. Like I said, Belfast is going to get a lot of acting noms. Hinds is so good. So good, I believe he could win it. Because it's hard to envision Jamie Dornan winning for Belfast just because it doesn't feel like the performance that wins it. I loved his performance. It was great. It warrants a nomination. But he has the most talk surrounding him. So I'm going to keep him at that 1 spot. In the 2 spot, Bradley Cooper for Licorice Pizza. It just looks like that kind of performance. I can't wait to see the film, hopefully seeing it in about a week and a half, so I'll have more of a picture on the potential Best Picture winner. That was stupid. But the top 3, I think, have a really good shot of all getting in. Who wins it? I don't know. I have no clue. Don't ask me. Actress. Things are starting to come into focus a little bit better. I am going to take out Jodie Comer, though, from my honorable mentions. The Last Duel. I hate that's not being talked about. It's in my top 10 of the year. but nobody's really bringing it up, and it's a shame. Cate Blanchett, Nightmare Alley. Rachel Zegler, I'm still going to keep her in for West Side Story. I hope she does a great job. Jennifer Hudson in Respect, Olivia Colman in The Lost Daughter. On the outside looking in my opinion, but we'll have to see how she plays in the film. Last time around, I had Frances McDormand and I had Lady Gaga. I am going to take both of those out because the response for House of Gucci hasn't been great. Frances McDormand, I believe it's still too early to say. Nobody's talking about it, but the movie's not out. So because I have a lack of confidence there, I do have her on the outside looking in. And who is kind of coming in replacing both of those? The first one is Alana Haim from Licorice Pizza. You know, everything I'm hearing about Licorice Pizza, and I've yet to read a review, but just based off of Twitter, her name always comes up. And when that's the case, you can always feel a bit more confident when it comes to the Oscars. She's a no-name. It's one of her first big performances. I'm liking what I'm hearing so far. I'm going to keep Penelope Cruz on there from Parallel Mothers. Nothing about this film is kind of sticking out to me as potential Oscar nomination except for Penelope Cruz. She was great in the film, and everybody's talking about her, and when everybody's talking about somebody on that level, I at least have to have her in the conversation, which is why she's at 4. At 3, Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos. Again, it's Aaron Sorkin. Last time I had her as an honorable mention. This time, I believe because the talk has been strategically and specifically about those two performances, Javier Bardem and Nicole Kidman, and everybody's saying Kidman steals the show. And look what it's based off of. True story, people love I Love Lucy. It's like, yeah, you kind of have to go that route. At 2, Jessica Chastain, The Eyes of Tammy Faye. But if you ask me, she's very much in the running to win, just as much as my number 1 pick, Kristen Stewart. So I think both of them have an equal chance of winning. I'm still going to go Stewart on top. I don't even know personally. Again, this is predictions. This is not personalist. I don't even know personally who I want to win because I thought both of them were so good. A very strong top 2 in this category this year. So those are really the only 2 with a big shot to win, in my opinion, but they're definitely getting in. All right, let's talk about Best Actor. My honorable mentions, nothing changes. Peter Dinklage from Cyrano, Bradley Cooper, Nightmare Alley, Joaquin Phoenix, Come On, Come On, Nicolas Cage in Pig. I'm still holding out hope. I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? I have no clue, but I'm still holding out hope. I am going to add in Javier Bardem for Being the Ricardos. It's just one of those performances that feels like it could warrant that nomination. And I'm going to take out of my top 5 Adam Driver, and I don't even know if I'm going to make him an honorable mention. Unfortunately, you know, you see Adam Driver, and he's had 3 great performances this year, but none of them were on the level, and none of them were getting the talk surrounding them because the movies themselves weren't as well accepted. It's a shame. Keeping in DiCaprio, he's in the 5 spot. It's DiCaprio, even though it's a movie that doesn't necessarily warrant a nomination as much as some of his other films. Denzel Washington, it's so strong. I think he overcomes the lack of discussion in Tragedy of Macbeth. At number 3, Benedict Cumberbatch. Austin, why is he 3? Why isn't he 2? Well, number 2 is someone who, I don't know if he gives Will Smith a run for his money, but he's at least in the discussion. It's Andrew Garfield in Tick, Tick, Boom, who I had as an honorable mention, but then I saw the movie and I said, hey, well, there's about 3 scenes that they could play a little montage of when he gets that nomination, and I'm like, that could be Andrew Garfield's. This could be Andrew Garfield's biggest role yet, not box office-wise, but just in terms of people taking him seriously as an actor. But number 1, it's Will Smith. I saw the movie. I said, yep, he is that good. He does deserve it. I had some people give me a hard time last time. They're like, Austin, Will Smith's not going to get an Oscar. And I'm like, what? No, yeah, he is. Of course he is. He's getting it for King Richard. Kristen Stewart's getting it for Spencer. You may not believe me when I tell you this, but it's going to happen. So buckle up, kids. Best Director, no change in the top 5. I am going to add an honorable mention, Ronaldo Marcus Green for King Richard. You have to put it in there. Everyone's talking about King Richard. How do you get those good performances? Good direction. And I said it in my review, why is no one talking about Green's direction? It's just really smooth, slick, and he overcomes the cliches of a typical biopic. why not throw him on this list? Steven Spielberg, West Side Story. What a great looking movie. Spielberg's passion, I think, could push him into the top 5. At the 5 spot, Del Toro, Nightmare Alley. Here's where Spielberg could come in and overtake him, but I'm still going to keep Del Toro in there. Number 4, Jane Campion, Power of the Dog. I'm feeling really good about these top 4. PTA, Licorice Pizza. Yeah, I think there's a good shot. Kenneth Branagh. Number 2, Austin. What are you doing here? Why are you putting Denis Villeneuve at the number 1 spot? Well, maybe I'm crazy. I am crazy. But even though I think Branagh has a great shot at Best Director, we've seen Best Director wins before that don't quite line up with Best Picture. It's much more rare than when they do line up. But because I believe the talk surrounding Dune all comes back to Denis Villeneuve, and look at what's been happening behind the scenes. So many press conferences, so many Q&As, Christopher Nolan coming out and praising Denis Villeneuve, and it all comes back to him as a director and never getting that recognition prior to this. I mean, he's had, what was it, 1 nomination for director? Maybe, I don't know. Is this his first? Regardless, I think this could be his time to shine. Now, this is an unpopular opinion because Belfast is the clear best picture, like, okay, that's the one, right? But something about it feels fishy to me. So I guess if I were to bet on this, I could make a lot of money because people would say I'm crazy. I am. All right, here's the biggie. It's Best Picture, and we have some changes to talk about. Let's start with the honorable mentions. Mass, taking it off entirely. Not a chance, not a shot. It is so unfortunate. Coda and Spencer, they're both on the outside looking in, but I believe they have a good chance. In terms of movies that were on there last time, House of Gucci, gone. Not even an honorable mention. The Tragedy of Macbeth, I'm taking it out of the top 10, making it an honorable mention. Being the Ricardos, it's hard not to put this in. A lot of people have this in their top 10. Almost everyone I've looked at. I'm not going to put it in just yet. I have to see the film. Something about it is kind of, it's making me a little bit confused. Like, okay, is it going to go in? Is it not? At the 10 spot, a film that almost no one I've seen has as a Best Picture contender. And I don't think it's a contender, but I think it could get in because there's 10 secured, guaranteed spots, and you could throw a random movie at that 10 spot and it could get in because 9 and 10 are so tough to predict. So at 10, I'm going Tick, Tick, Boom. Almost everyone I've seen, you look at the Letterboxd score, you look at the user score. Critically, I think it's done extremely well. And Andrew Garfield's performance could push it into that top 10. We've seen huge surprises before. And you just go back to last year, right? Films that everyone was so confident to get in. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, One Night in Miami this year. I think that could be a Being the Ricardos, all right? Or obviously one of the other ones. But I think instead of that, because you do have those 10 spots, I think Tick, Tick, Boom gets in. I'm also right now, and this could be personal bias because you guys know how much I love the film. Come on. I'm going to throw it on there. I'm going to throw the dart, see what happens, see if it sticks, and pray that everybody remembers Woody Norman and Joaquin Phoenix because I love the movie so much. If you missed my review, it's one of the highest scores I've given in so long. But the rest of the films, I think even though the order has shifted, I think they're definitely getting that nomination. Don't look up. Have to see what the response is. Same thing with West Side Story. If the response is like I anticipate, then they're both getting in. The Power of the Dog. The Power of the Dog is one of those movies that, a lot of people have a bit higher up. It doesn't quite have what I believe it needs to win Best Picture, but it has what it needs to get a nomination. Nightmare Alley, Del Toro is always a threat. Doesn't matter what's above it. If the movie's responded to like I believe it will be, he is always a threat. Dune. A little bit lower down than last time. I still think it has a really good shot, but instead of 3, I have it at 4 because, well, we'll get to the number 1 spot. Licorice Pizza at number 3, a great opportunity for PTA to just be in that conversation of, okay, could he win Best Picture? There still isn't a clear Best Picture winner, in my opinion, even though a lot of people are thinking number 2, at least on my list, Belfast has the best chance. Well, Austin, if a lot of people believe Belfast has the best chance, then why are you putting King Richard at the 1 spot? Well, here's my thoughts on this, right? I think King Richard is much more of a broad appeal type of movie. And don't get me wrong, right? The audience response for Belfast has been really good. Everyone who's seen it has appreciated it. It's black and white for the most part. It's a period piece. It's a film that just has what a Best Picture winner needs, and yet the response has been so overwhelmingly positive towards King Richard. I think it has a great chance of winning Best Picture, even without some of the big wins, right? Doesn't win Screenplay, doesn't win this, doesn't win Director, and how is it going to win Best Picture, Austin, without, the Best Director nom? Because I didn't have him in my top 5. It's a tough task. But again, we've seen it before. We've seen it countless times. And I look at a movie like Green Book, and you're gonna get so mad at me for this, comparing King Richard to Green Book. But hear me out. Green Book is the crowd pleaser, was the crowd pleaser of that year. Absolutely so. And you look at what King Richard is dealing with and kind of the subtle but relevant things that King Richard is dealing with. And don't get me wrong, Belfast has that as well. I don't know if Licorice Pizza does, but maybe. King Richard, though, has everything it needs to win. I still personally believe Belfast has the best chance, but because everything seems to be going in King Richard's favor, I think I'm going to be the only one to have it at the top of his list. But I like being different every now and then, so that's what we're doing. And that's it. It's going to be shorter than this, but a 45-minute recording of me talking about all of this Best Picture, Best Director madness. The Oscars are going to be lit. Is that what the kids say? Thank you guys so much for sticking around through this video. As always, it's not necessarily what I want to win. These are my predictions. These are what I hope to get right at the end of the day. But I still have plenty of movies to see, plenty of things to think about. The vibe, everything about it is going to shift monumentally by the time we get into January and February. But I pose the question to you guys. What did I miss here? What gets in, what doesn't get in? Do you believe some of these movies that I have on the outside looking in have a chance? Leave all your things in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. Another update coming soon, but first, plenty of reviews this upcoming week. I'll see you guys soon.